Okay. We also have the recording.
All right, okay.
Okay. Ibu Hana, maybe
Yeah.
I will leave the room for today.
Okay.
Ibu Nayang still here. Ibu
All
Nayang
right.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
No
thank
problem.
you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All right, students, good morning. Assalamualaikum. And today I will continue about the equivalent unit. Okay, it is a bit complicated, more complicated compared to yesterday. So, what is actually the equivalent units?
Ini apa?
All right. Okay. Equivalent unit actually is the partially completed units which converted to equivalent unit, which actually are notional whole unit presenting incomplete word. Okay, what we can see here, it is actually in the process we have the complete unit. All right. So the complete unit, we can conclude that it is 100% complete. Okay. However, at the end of the month, not all the product in the process is completed. All right. Okay. So therefore, the remaining balance that is incomplete during the month, we can calculate the equivalent unit to the completed work. All right, so that's why we have to calculate the equivalent unit in order for us to calculate the total cost that involved for the month or for the production. All right, so these equivalent units are used to apportion cost between work in progress and fully completed unit. Let's say you have 14,000. The total cost is 14,000. However, you don't know how to charge to the fully completed and another portion for the work in progress. So we have to do some calculation where we call equivalent unit. For example, here, if you have 600 units of inventory, all right, let's say you have 600 and you estimate that 25% complete. And the 600 units will be represented by 25% times 600. Therefore, 150 equivalent unit. Okay. So, I will show you how. Okay, another thing that you have to remember here is the one full unit of production. Full unit of production, consider one equivalent unit. Okay. So, incomplete units can be found whether at the beginning of the period. So, if at the beginning of the period, okay, let's say from this month, you carry it to the next month. So, the opening for, let's say, March and April. So, closing work for March will be the opening for April. Okay, so that's why opening work in progress here, you have opening work in progress, the short form, okay, and closing work in progress, the CWIP. All right. So in order for us to calculate these two, we need the percentage of completion. All right. And again, you are going to do similar to yesterday's exercise or example where there is normal loss or no normal loss. Okay, we have a few situations today that we have to take a look at this, whether we are going to use a method of FIFO and average cost. FIFO is first in, first out, and the FIFO is the uh, average cost per unit. Okay, so when there are fully completed unit and partially completed units, then the total production cost will be the sum of the fully completed units and equivalent unit. It is quite difficult for us to read what is actually the incomplete and completed. So it is good if we proceed with the example and the table and calculation. All right. Let's say we consider this situation. You have 6,000 fully completed unit. You have 2,000 partially completed. And the degree of completion is 75. All right. So we can calculate the equivalent unit here, where it is actually 75 times 2,000. All right. Therefore, the total equivalent unit, 6,000. Sorry, one unit, one completed unit equivalent, is the same with the one equivalent unit. Okay, and you have to calculate just now the 2,000 unit times 75. So you have to add with another 1,005 equivalent unit. So in total, it is actually 7,005. And whatever cost you have during the process, you divide into 7,500. Excuse me for a short while. Okay, so now we look at the work in progress if we have different degrees of completion. All right, so of course we're going to receive the percentage, a different percentage of degree of completion. All right, so in case you receive a question or any situation that, for example, the material is normally will get 100% completed. You know why? Because when we start to produce something, the first thing that we need to add is the material in the process. So therefore, we will include everything for the at the beginning of the process. So that's why we can see that in that particular process, the raw material or the material element would be 100% completed. All right. However, the conversion cost in this situation, yesterday I did mention conversion cost is actually maybe the labor and the overhead. All right. Labor and overhead. So maybe 50% completed. All right. And what you need to do in the equivalent unit, you have to produce 3 statements. One is statement of production, 2 statement of cost, and the third one is statement of evaluation. All right. Let us look at the example here. Okay, example 7.8 here. Processco company manufactures product called Alpha, passes 2 processes, okay, A and B. The following information relates to process A for the month of March 2018. Okay, you have an input of raw material, labor, and overhead. You have the quantity here, it is 1,000 unit, and the cost is 5,000. Okay, there were no normal loss. Okay, so no normal loss. So we don't have to calculate. All right. At the end of the period, it was found that there were 800 fully completed units. At the end of the period, maybe we can see 31st March. All right. Only 800 produced, okay, completed at the end of the month. All right. So now we know that out of 1,000, only 800 is fully completed. And 200, the remaining balance is work in progress. All right. Therefore, you need to calculate the equivalent unit for this 200. Okay. And you have been given with this information, right? All right. Degree of completion for material, 100%, labor, 60%, overhead, 40%. As I mentioned earlier, normally material will have 100% complete because we put all the materials at the beginning of the production. All right. Okay. So now, based on this information, we have to prepare the 3 statements and the process account. Okay, let us look how we can solve this situation. Let's say I'm using this method, all right? No worry, I will teach you about this method in detail after this, all right? And we take this as an example for a simple calculation first. All right, so now you remember that our raw material. Okay, before that, this is the statement of production. This is how the statement of production or statement of equivalent unit. Okay, it is the same. It depends on your university, which one is used by you all. Okay, statement of production or statement of equivalent unit. And it is how the statement look like. Okay, input, output, raw material, labor, and overhead. And sometimes these two combine and we call it conversion cost. All right. So now we can see that this is our input. The column of input here, we know that we have 1,000 unit. All right. Our raw material is 1,000 unit. And based on that, we look at the output here. The next column is about the output. You know, based on your calculation just now, from here, okay, so we know that part of it is fully completed and another part is work in progress. So what you need to write here, the 800 is fully completed and the work in progress is 200. All right, the next column here, okay, when you write the next column, raw material, labor, and overhead, you have a percentage of completion. Okay, so for raw material, as we know, it is 100% complete for material. For completed unit, okay, completed unit means it's ready. Okay, therefore, ready in that particular process. Okay, so let's say this in the process 1. So it complete for process 1. We are going to transfer to another process. Okay, this is where at the end of the month, you have 800 can be transferred for the next process. However, 200 is not complete in the process 1 yet. Okay, so you have to stay. That particular product need to stay. Okay, so this 800, of course, 100% for raw material, 100% for labor, as well as 100% for overhead. So it is easy, 800 times 100. So that's why you can see here, 800, 800, all the same for fully completed. No worry. Okay, so you have to remember, if fully completed, okay, means all 100%. It's going to be the same, okay, for output, raw material, labor, and overhead. And you have to remember, this is not in RM or rupiah, but this is actually the equivalent unit. It is in unit, all right? Because we need the unit in order for us to calculate the cost per unit. So we have to do the equivalent unit first. All right. So settle with the fully completed. Now, we have the work in progress. As I mentioned, raw material should be 100%. Okay. So 200 times 100% times 1, it is 200. And the work in progress for labor, 60%. Therefore, I write 60%. For overhead, 40%. Therefore, I write here 40%. Okay, how do I calculate this? 60% times 200. Okay, 200 times 60% equivalent to 120. All right, and 200 times 40% equal to 80. Right? I repeat. How do I calculate this? This is 200 work in progress times 100 is equivalent to 200. Okay. However, the completion for labor is only 60% times 200 equal to 120, and 40% times 200 equal to 80, right? See again the fully completed here, 800, 800, 800, 800. The work in progress here, 200, 120, and 80. So you have to total it and should be equal to the 1000. All right. So now 800 plus 200, you have the output of 1000. Raw material, you have 1000. Labor, 800 plus 120, now is 920. And overhead, 800 plus 800 plus 80, it's 880. Okay, that is the total cost that involved in the production. And that is the number of equivalent units, number of equivalent unit that we have in process 1. So now we have to calculate the cost. You prepare the statement of cost now, where it's actually should be in line. Okay. So what you need to do, the input cost. Where do you get the input cost? It's supposed to be in the question.
Recording in progress.
Okay, this is the cost. 5,000 here. 1,004 for labor. It is here. And 880, it is here. Okay. To get the cost per unit, equivalent unit, what you need to do, the cost divide into equivalent unit. Okay. So 5,000 actually okay, 5,000 actually divided into 1,000. Therefore, you get 5 ringgit. Okay, and this one you divide into 920. Okay, and this one you divide into 880. So you get this. Right? If you want to add another column here, also no problem. Under input, you want to write 1,000. Whatever figure that you have here, you transfer down there, and then you maybe have ample column for you to get the CPU, CEU. Eh? All right. So now, after you divide, okay, after you divided this input cost with the equivalent unit, you have the cost per equivalent unit. Okay, what you need to do, you calculate, you total up, the total cost of completed unit is 5 plus 2 plus 1, which is 8 ringgit. Okay, you have to add this. In total, RN 8. Okay, this is statement of equivalent. This is statement of cost. And another one is a statement of evaluation. So this is how the statement of evaluation look like. We have the cost element, equivalent unit, cost per equivalent, and the total cost. All right. The item here is the completed units. How many? We have 800. And the cost per equivalent unit is RM. This is where you obtain that from the equivalent unit, from the statement of cost. Okay, you transfer it here. All right, 800 times 8 is equal to 6400. And now you also need to calculate about the work in progress. Okay, what you can do here, the raw material is 200. Please refer to the price of labor. Okay, it is 2 ringgit. Sorry, the price of raw material is 5 ringgit. Okay, so times 5. The labor is 2 ringgit. We times 2. And the overhead is 1 ringgit. You times 1. And this supposed to be this work in progress figure. Okay, 120, 80, 200. Right? You transfer into the statement of evaluation. All right. So from here, 200 times 5 is 1,000. 120 times 2, 240. 80 times 1 is 80. All right. So in total, it is 1320. Okay. So now, after you complete completed the three statement, all right, you now need to prepare the process account. So we have two processes just now. We take process A as an example. All right. So what I need to write in my process account is the material of 1,000 times 5 ringgit. It is 5,000. The labor just now is 1,840 and the overhead is 880. And then the finished goods that we have from the process is 800 and the cost of the finished good is 8 ringgit. All right, here. Okay, so 6,004 and the work in progress is 200 where we transfer this into here and this here. Okay, you should have reached to the balancing amount of 7,720. All right, and the work in progress here would be transferred to process B, and in process B, this would be opening work in progress. All right, do you have any question before I proceed? Do you understand or can you follow me?
Oke, ada yang mau ditanya nggak buat mahasiswa semua paham ya? Kalau ada yang mau ditanya silakan bertanya. Ada? Boleh raise hand kalau ada yang mau ditanyakan? Oke, nggak ada ya. Ada? Ada yang mau ditanyakan? Oke, kalau nggak ada. Please, Dr. Hana, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you. So let me continue with the example of what we call normal loss with scrap value. If normal loss with no scrap value, no problem. It is the same like yesterday, but in equivalent unit, you have to prepare that restatement. It is the same like the previous that I just mentioned just now. So now let us look what is actually the difference if you have normal loss with scrap value. Okay, so refer to another example here. Okay, Prosco data in example 7.8, and we can relate the following information to the process B. Okay, so now you have to remember, let's say we have two processes, okay, in the production. Okay, in the same month, we have just now is also for March, right? Okay, we have process A for March and we have also process B for March. Okay, do not confuse and do not think that maybe you think that this process is going to be next month. All right, so while you do something in process A, your process B is still ongoing from the February. All right, that already transferred from February. Okay, this is this is where it is a bit critical for you to what we call imagines, but what you can do here is you have to look at the manufacturing company. All right, the same month we have stage of process 1, process B, maybe we also have in something in process C, process D. All right, so this process A, let's see, just now 800 completed, 200 is still in the process, and then we're going to have in April. But at the same time, for March, process B also have complete and also have work in progress. Okay, so this is where we want to tell you that the process B here, for the month of March, we have an input of 500 units, okay, which costs you 210. and the labor is 666, and the overhead is 1,330. However, in the process B, we expect 10% will be loss, maybe from the input. Okay, and that loss is going to be sold for RM50. Okay, this loss have scrap value. The loss has scrap value. So at the end of the period, 350 units are fully completed and 100 units are partially completed. The details of the closing work in progress are given below. All right. In the process B, we are going to have 100 unit closing work in progress. And the degree of completion for that 100 unit is material is 100, labor 20% complete, overhead 30% complete. So prepare the relevant statement. Again, for this one, you have to prepare the 3 statements. Okay. And process B, account. Let us look how the statement look like. Okay. So you have the raw material 500. All right. And the finished good is only 350. It is the same like just now. Okay. 100%, 100%, and 100%. For these 3 criteria, raw material, labor, and overhead. All right. So the problem here is about the work in progress. You cannot make mistake here, because once you have made the wrong calculation, then everything will be wrong. Okay. So now let us look at the work in progress for raw material. As I mentioned earlier, it is 100% complete. Therefore, equivalent unit is 100. However, for labor, 20% times 100 is 20, and 30% times 100 is 30. Okay, so in total, the equivalent unit for raw material is 350 plus 100, it is 450. 350 plus 20 is 370, and 350 plus 30 is 380. Now you have your equivalent unit. All right. And after you do this equivalent unit, statement of equivalent unit, this is the first statement. And you continue to prepare the statement of cost. Okay, how you do it? It is the same. Okay, the input cost just now, how much? 210, 666, and 1330. Copy that into the statement. 210, 666, and 1330. In the previous example, we got no normal loss, right? No normal loss. I didn't do anything about this. However, now you have this now you have normal loss. How much? 50 unit times 150, the scrap value. 50 times 150 is 75. Therefore, the actual input cost become lesser, because that 50 unit can be sold as scrap. Then now 200, you minus that 75, you only incur 2025. Okay, how about this labor? Labor should be 666, and this overhead is 1330. If you don't want to write, it is okay. Right? How you come out with the cost per equivalent unit? Again, 2025 you divide into 450. 666 divide into 370, and 1330 you divide into 380. All right. So you have 450, 180, and 350. So you add all together, 450 plus 180 plus 350, it is equivalent to 980. Okay. And this is actually for the total cost per unit for completed unit. So now from here, I will continue to statement of evaluation. This is the third statement. Again, completed unit 350 times 980. Take the whole amount because this is for the whole amount, for the whole cost. So the completed unit should times for the total cost per unit. However, the work in progress, the raw material should base on the raw material cost per unit. The labor should base on the labor cost per unit, and overhead would be based on the labor head per unit. So when you total up, you will get this figure and this figure. So from here, you will prepare this, what we call, you prepare the process B account. Okay. Again, you have material 2001, 660, 1330. You have the normal loss here, 50 times 150, and it is 75. Where do you get the completed unit? It is from the statement. Okay. The completed unit is 350. So let us go to 350 here. Okay. And the total cost for completed unit is the total cost per unit just now, 980. Okay. And the work in progress is 100. Okay. Or what you can refer to, this figure and this figure should be in the process B. 340,591. All right. And how your normal loss account look like? It is like this. Okay. And you can sell it at 150. Okay. You receive cash. What you do? This is your cash account. You will debit your cash account. Then you will write normal loss. From your normal loss, you will in your normal loss account, you will write this 75 of cash. All right, this is your double entry, and I think the basic double entry should be familiar with before. All right, so we not actually testing. That is considered the basic. The most important point here, you need to prepare the three statement and the process account. All right, you can always check back with the cash account and bank account. That is doesn't matter. All right, so hopefully by now you clear about your double entry. That is very simple. You have learned in part 1, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that is example of 7.9. Okay, so okay, before I proceed with process account with the opening work in progress. If you look here, no opening work in progress. The two examples before, there is no opening work in progress. However, we have only closing work in progress. Okay. Before I proceed with the opening work in progress in a further next question. All right. Do you have anything to ask? Hopefully you can follow the flow. If you cannot catch up, then you have to clear it now. Okay, or otherwise you're going to be blur in the next example, and at the end of the class you don't gain anything, because this is actually a process account. You need a flow, right? You need to identify the opening work in progress. Okay, when you have completed this study, all right, this topic, actually you need to know the opening work in progress. So in order for you to decide which method that you use in opening work in progress, whether it is FIFO or ALCO, you have to decide when you want to prepare the statement, right? There is difference in preparation the statement, all right, especially on the equivalent unit. Okay, and then only you can proceed to the statement of cost and statement of evaluation, and after that you prepare the process account. Okay, so these few stages need to be followed. Okay, need to be followed closely. Okay, so hopefully you can catch me, all right, and you can understand whatever that I have presented. Okay, if you have any doubt now, maybe you can ask me before we proceed. Just any question about the stages or the completion, okay, where how to calculate the degree of completion, and where can I get the information, all that. All right, like yesterday, it is similar to the yesterday, but yesterday you do not have to prepare the three statement. It is a simple one, that is the basic one. All right, so now in what you call process account, all right, in manufacturing account, you need to prepare this, especially when you stay in the production department. Right. Do you have any question?
Ya, ada
You
yang mau
can,
ditanya?
yeah, you
Ada yang mau
can ask me
ditanyakan?
in you can ask in bahasa, okay. Maybe Dr. Nayang can explain to me if I cannot understand the language.
Oke, kalian boleh tanya dalam bahasa Indonesia, nanti saya akan coba translatekan atau jelaskan ke Dokter Hananya. Ada yang mau ditanya sebelum Dokter Hana masuk, apabila kita memiliki barang dalam proses awal, karena ini kita baru bahas kalau kita tidak memiliki barang dalam proses awal, kita baru bahas sampai di pada saat akhir periode kita masih memiliki barang yang belum selesai diproduksi. Nah, untuk yang sekarang kita mau masuk ke apabila kita memiliki barang dalam proses awal, perhitungannya seperti apa. Tapi sebelum kita memasuki pembahasan itu, apakah Anda semua ada yang mau ditanyakan dulu atau sudah paham? Ada yang mau ditanyakan? Aziza, Melati, Syira, ada yang mau ditanyakan? Bismi, ada yang mau ditanya? Ailsa, Alicia, ada? Paham? Paham nggak nih?
Paham, Bu. Mungkin
Oh,
bisa
paham.
lanjut aja.
Oke, oke. Kita lanjut ya. Oke, Dokter Hana, we can proceed
Continue
about
with
yeah.
Okay, all right. So I will proceed with the opening week in progress. Okay, as your lecture mentioned just now, before we proceed, in the process, we at the end of the month, we still have something that in progress. We cannot complete everything. Let's say we put 100, and all 100 can be completed at the end of the month. Okay, sometimes something happened and we have to stop the job. All right, we have to stop the production. Okay, maybe the machine is out of usage, for example. Okay, so therefore, some part of the process cannot be complete. All right, cannot be complete. So that's why we have the work in progress. And this work in progress, this now, let's say it is in March. So we have what we call closing work in progress. However, this closing work would be the opening work in progress in April. Okay, so if you look at the example just now, we have this, right? Closing work in progress of 100. Normally, I will ask my student to write like this, CWIP. Okay, sorry. Okay. It is CWIP, closing work in progress. All right, so this is incomplete. So this is the amount of the incomplete work. All right, and we have to again start a new statement. All right, statement of equivalent unit. All right, so let's say now we want to do the opening work inventory. We'll have to brought forward from the previous period, and additional costs will have to be incurred to complete the unfinished opening work in the current period. For example, in March, closing work was made up of 100% for material, but only 20% for labor and 30% for overhead. So we have remaining work to do for labor. Since just now it's only 20%, the remaining work need to be done is another 80%. And for overhead, you have done 30%. So the remaining is another 70%, which need to be complete in April. Okay, so now let us look how you want to do. One, it's based on the first in, first out, and another one is based on the average method. Okay, let us straight away look at the example 7.10, which is more interesting. All right, and we can see here product beta going through two processes. We have process 1, and then we're going to transfer to process 2. This information is related to process 1 for the month of April. And at the start of the period, there was 600 units for opening work in progress with a cost of 4,500. Okay, bear in your mind, we have 600 opening work in progress. In the previous example, we don't have opening work in progress. But now we have opening work in progress. And if we want to start with the opening work in progress, we have to consider two methods somewhere. All right, we have FIFO style, and we also can use FCO style. All right, okay. So therefore, it's more complicated now. Let's say we use FIFO. All right, look at the degree of completion, the material, labor, and the overhead. All right, and this is the degree of completion as at to date, at the beginning. It means at the beginning, okay? On the 1st April, for example. All right, and this one, during the month, we incur another 14,000, 7,000, and 7,000. And at the end of April, you have 500 closing work in progress. This is opening work in progress during the month. And this is your percentage of completion in progress. Okay. And let's see, no loss in the process. Okay. Let's see, no loss in the process. All right. So now, prepare relevant statement. and process 1. Now, let us look how we need to prepare. This is the format, okay? And what you need to do, the first thing, it is the same like the previous one. You have input, you have output, raw material, labor, overhead, and these two can be combined and we call conversion cost. All right. Input. Look at the column of input here. The opening work in progress. How much is your opening work in progress? How many just now? Okay. Here. 600 unit. Okay. So 600 unit and FIFO method, we will put that first 600 will come out first. Okay. So first in, first out. Therefore, this is going to be complete and you have to know cost here, all right, and the labor. Why there is no percentage here? At the previous process, okay, at the previous month, you put all the material, okay, you put all the material where the material completes 100%. This is the degree of completion, 100%. So in the following month, no more material for that opening work in progress. However, for labor, since you have completed 40%, then you need to complete another 60%. Okay. And for you, the overhead, you have completed 70%. Therefore, the percentage of 30% need to be complete. Okay. It is different. You remember like this. Okay. Opening, you have to look at the percentage and how many percent you need to complete more. It is different from work in progress. Okay. You have to record the current percentage. How much is already complete? 70%, 50%, and 40%. Okay. So look here. When you want to write the closing work in progress, look at the percentage for closing work, 70, 50, and 40. However, degree of completion when opening work in progress, you have to minus 100 minus 40. The remaining will be settled this month. Okay, so that's why this is the figures or the percentage need to be complete, need to be completed. Okay, it is the same for this. Okay, need to be completed. Need to be completed. All right, and this one, end of the month, the percentage of completed. Percentage of completed as at 30th April. Okay, hopefully now you have better understanding where do I get this 60, 30 and 70, 50 and 40 and why no percentage for raw material. As I mentioned earlier, no material because material you have at the beginning of the process. Okay, so it's already there. Okay, so no need to complete anything. Right. However, the labor you still need 60. Okay, because last time you already used 40%. And the overhead, you already used 70%, and now you need to complete another 30%, right? Okay, and the work in progress is going to be, is already completed until now, 70%, 50% for labor, and 40% for overhead. Okay, normally I will ask my student to look at that two criteria first. Okay, and once you have done with that, you know that you have additional material during the month. Okay, you have additional material of 2,000. So now I need to add this as an input to me. Okay, and fully completed during this period. Okay, since the work in progress is 500, okay, and we use the opening as our 54 is our method. Therefore, the first 600 is from the previous, and that 2,000 now, the 500 come from the new material added. It is not complete, which is 500. Where do I get this 500? It is mentioned in the question. Okay, at the end of the month, that 500 is still work in progress. The job is still in the progress. So I have 500, and how much is the percentage? Is 70% completed, 50% completed, and 40% completed. As you know earlier, 70% times 500, you get this. Okay, this one times 500, you will get 250. 40 times 500, you get 200. Okay, and now you can calculate the numbers of unit. All right, the raw material. Okay, and the labor as well as the what we call overhead. And again, when you do the statement of cost, where do I get this cost? Refer to the question. This is the cost. Okay, and I transfer it to here. Okay, this is for raw material, this is for labor, and this is for overhead. All right, now when I want to calculate the cost per unit, that 4,000 I divide with 1850, and this one I divide with 1110, and this one is with 1880. Again, I will get my cost per unit. All right, and to calculate the completed unit cost, I have to total up. Okay, do not do 3 times. Okay, some students they like to write like this: 1,005 times 8, 1,005 times 3.5, 1,005 times 442. It is not wrong, but you need to save your time. During the exam, you know that completed unit is the total cost of 15,070 cents. So therefore, you just take 1,005 times 15.7. All right. We look at the statement of evaluation, fully completed 1,005 times 15.7, and the opening is 360 and 180. Where do I get this? It is from here. Okay, 350, 360 and 180. All right, and you times 3.5 and 4.2, and then you have the cost of work in progress earlier mentioned in the question, 4,005, all right, and plus the total cost of work in progress before completed is 6,516. Okay, you plus that too, so you will have 30, 23 plus 20 plus 45, you will get this. All right, and the work in progress is come from the previous statement, 2008, 875 and 840. All right, so you have the total of work in progress of 4,515. All right, so okay, yes, okay, so that is about the statement of evaluation. All right, you just transfer it from the previous statement. All right, whatever calculation that you have made in the previous statement, you need to continue in the following stages where when you want to prepare the statement of evaluation. Okay. All right. It is quite messy and it is very hard, I think, for you to catch. But I think your lecturer will help you to understand better. All right. So it is how we have to do the statement of evaluation in the first in, first out. All right. So this is the process account for the first 600 and the raw material in the particular process 4,000 plus 14,000 plus 7,000 plus 7,008. So it is 34,581 and to process 2. Okay, the figures that we want to transfer to process 2, it is from here. Okay, so and this is work in progress. You obtain it from the statement of evaluation. All right, so you transfer both here and should be balanced. All right, in your process account. Okay, and this is should be transferred in the following month. All right, the process 1 would be your opening work in progress, and you have process 2. You will write process 1. Sorry. Just a minute. So you have to, let's see, this is your process 2. You transfer it here, 30066. All right, your process 2. This is your, what we write, process 1. And in process 1, you have to transfer this to not to the process 2, but the work in progress here need to be transferred to the following month, still in the process 1, but we call it opening work in progress. Here is closing work in progress, and next month is opening work in progress is 4515. All right, so it is how it look like. Okay. So do not confuse because process is process 1 to process 2. It is only for completed unit. However, the work in progress will remain in the same process. It's only things that change in this is the name, where at the beginning of the last month, we call it closing work in progress, and it is still in the same process, but now at the beginning of the April, we call it opening work in progress. It is the same where you call the what we call balance carried down and the balance brought down in the same process. It's just a matter of the demand, but it's still in the process because we haven't completed the process yet. Only completed units will be transferred. Completed unit means in this situation, we have two processes where it's complete in process 1, but it is not a finished good. Complete in process 1 and can be transferred to process 2. All right. So it is different with the work in progress. In process 1, we have work in progress. And in process 2, we are going to have work in progress as well. Because in process 2, at the end of the month, maybe we cannot complete the process 2 as well. Okay, so that's why in every process, you don't worry, might have work in progress. And in process 1, let's say you have 2 processes. Okay, let's say you have 2 processes. Process 1, only we call completed and can be transferred to process 2. No, in process 1, no finished good. But in process 2, you may reach to the finished good if only 2 processes involved in your production. In case you have another few processes, then you cannot reach to the finished good until you settle all the processes. What item is actually complete is complete for that particular processes. Okay, do not confuse yourself. Okay, process in the month. Sometimes if you want to produce something that very easy, they have 5 processes, for example, and it can be completed during the month for that particular 5 processes. All right. However, sometimes if you want to make car, for example, maybe it need more time for you to complete from what we call fixing, okay, and you at the end you have to spray and until you have the QC to check and only you complete the process. So it maybe take few months for you to complete 1 or 2 processes. All right, so you have to remember and look at the real situation outside there. Okay, so process can be easier or maybe it can be harder than what you expect. All right, it depends on the things that you produce. If you venture into what we call how you want to make this frozen food, okay, maybe you only need 2 or 3 process and it can be complete during a day. All right, okay, so if you want to produce a canned drink, maybe it can be produced in 1 day. You can even produce in bulk some more. Okay. However, you have another processes to put in the box in another process. Okay. Before you deliver. All right. Maybe you have to check the quality. You have another processes. Okay. So that's why you have to remember that the process is actually where you it's not necessary complete in a month. Okay, it depends on the situation. So now I think about the previous course is no worry about this. We proceed with this scrap value. The difference is actually only this part, as I prepared and show you earlier. All right, you only need to do the calculation of the scrap value and the rest will be the same. And you maybe can refer 1 to 1. Since we have not much time, I will show you the abnormal loss here with the scrap value. Okay, as you know, the abnormal loss is actually unexpected loss. Okay, as we mentioned yesterday, and again, you have to prepare the abnormal loss. It is the same, the process is the same, all the same here. Normal loss, opening work in progress, fully completed work in progress. The thing that you need to calculate is the abnormal loss. All right. And what you need to do for abnormal loss, it is the same as completed percentage. Look at the percentage. All right. I've taught you yesterday about the abnormal loss. It is going to base, the cost per unit is going to base on the completed unit. All right. So you charge or you calculate based on 100%. Follow your completed unit for abnormal loss. The rest is the same. Okay. If you look at the normal loss, no figures here. Why? Normal loss. There's no equivalent unit. If you have 120, if you have 1,000, you write no equivalent unit. It can't be used, but it can be sold. Okay, remember, the equivalent unit and the scrap value is different. Okay, normal loss can be sold, then you will have this figure, right? This is the 125, can be sold. However, no equivalent unit because it is a loss. Right? Okay, so that is the abnormal loss and the rest is all the same for the statement of evaluation and how you include in your process 2. Remember, it is the same. Normal loss would be in your credit side, your abnormal loss in your credit side. Okay, so it just transfer the figure. All right, and this is actually the abnormal gain, all right? The abnormal gain. Look at the example here where you have abnormal loss of 100, okay? It is a positive sign, but if you go to abnormal gain, you have to put it in bracket. It means that 1675, you have to minus 50, all right? However, the percentage is also the same, like your fully completed percentage. The concept is the same like the previous or like the lecture yesterday for the basic process. Okay, fully completed, the stages of completion for abnormal gain, abnormal loss is the same. Just follow the completed unit. All right, the rest would be the same. Okay, this is the cost. This is scrap value if you have the scrap value. If you don't have the scrap value, then you don't have to do this. All right, straight away use this one. Okay, and this and this. All right, this is the statement of evaluation. Again, it is the same thing, all right? You just copy the things that come from the previous statement, all right? And also the process to account. Let's say you have normal loss, okay? This is the figure that you use, okay? And the abnormal gain should be in this side. If normal loss, if abnormal loss in your credit side, but abnormal gain should be in your debit side. Okay. Now, another method, the average method. All right. Where this average method of inventory valuation, it is an actually alternative to the FIFO method. All right. So under this FIFO method, actually the cost brought forward in the opening work in progress and the current period costs are added together. Okay, to get the weighted average cost per unit based on the number of units produced. Okay, we are going to total up. Let me show you to this example. We refer to the same example, all right, based on the 7.1 just now, all right, 7.10, all right. So the opening work in progress is 600. Okay, based on 7.10, the opening work in progress is 600, and at that process during the month you add another 2,000. So in total is 2,006, and you you have work in progress 500, and you transfer to process 2 is 2001. This is completed process unit, completed unit in the process 1. So work in progress is 500, need to be in the same process. The remaining balance is 2,100. Okay, the different, not the remaining balance. The remaining balance is the work in progress. Okay, the transfer to process 2,100 actually is complete for that process, and you transfer to the process 2. Okay, and again, when it is complete, of course, everything will be 100%, and the work in progress, the percentage, if we refer to the 7.0, the work in progress is 70, 50, and 40. All right, so that is slightly easier where you only bother about the work in progress. Okay, work in progress 500, the difference is all completed unit. But if we look at the FIFO method, we have 600 just now. Okay, can see here. Okay, this is a first in, this is first in, first out. You can see we differentiate between the opening work in progress 600 here. it is different with the average cost, where the average cost method, we straight away take it as a whole. Okay, so you have 2001 here, all right? No 600 there. So the whole thing is 2001 can be transferred to next process. Okay, and the statement of cost here, okay, opening work in progress cost brought forward is 23,840 and 1310 from the previous one, and the current period cost, this is given in the question, all right, and you have you need to total up. Once you get the total cost, you divide into 2450, 8225 you divide to 2350, and 92 you divide into 23100. Okay, all right. That is slightly different. Just now is 1570, but now is 7 plus 3.5 plus 4. It's equivalent to 14.503. All right, and these figures need to be transferred to the statement of equivalent here. Right, you have the completed unit and the figures from the previous statement, all right, and the raw material here 350, labor 250, overhead 200. Okay, the same concept based on the cost for raw material, for labor, and for overhead. Only for completed unit, you just times the total cost per unit. All right, so you will have this, and this can be written down in your process account. Opening work in progress 600, 4005, direct material 2000. These all the costs stated in the question. All right, and this should be transferred to process 2, 3456 from process 1. Okay, you transfer this figure to process 2, and the work in progress will stay there, and it is 500 unit, and this is the cost where you get from the statement of the evaluation. All right. The choice between FIFO and ARCO method of valuation. The company normally use FIFO method. All right. It actually depends on the information that provided. The FIFO method is used when the opening work is given with the degree of completion and the total cost brought forward without the value of each cost element. And the ARCO method is used when the opening work in progress has the value of each cost element, but not the degree of completion. So therefore, based on the information from the question, then you should select which method need to be used. All right. And normally in the question, if your lecturer is kind, she will let you know which method, or otherwise he will silent. No information, no instruction, but the information is available the question. All right. So that is basically about the equivalent unit. All right. So now I will open the question. Okay. So maybe you can ask me. Do you want to ask any question? And
Oke, ada yang mau bertanya? Fiza tadi mau bertanya, Fiza?
Ya, Bu.
Iya, silakan. Silakan.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Hafiza Alia dengan NIM 22043100. Saya berasal dari Prodi Akuntansi. Baiklah, saya akan menanya kepada Ibu dosen sekalian. Pertanyaannya, bagaimana AVCO membebankan biaya rata-rata tertimbang ke item persediaan dan bagaimana hal ini mempengaruhi perhitungan biaya persediaan pada akhir periode akuntansi?
What is it, Ibu Naya?
Yeah. Visa asked how does average cost assign a weighted average cost to inventory items, and how does this affect the calculation of inventory cost in the end of the accounting period?
How
Uh,
invent
how does this affect the calculation of inventory cost at the end of the accounting period?
Oh, you mean the stock?
Yes.
Oh,
The
that is
stock
different
at
part. That is different part in the real situation where normally when we use that particular product, it is different. For example, we work in the factory, right? Let's say we get involved and we ask for 1,000 kg of the flour. Okay, so the inventory department or the stockkeeper will record to deduct 100 kg. And for them, that is actually 100, it's already out. It's nothing to do with the FIFO here. Okay, this is what we call not the inventory technique. Okay, this is the technique of which one need to be considered. All right, in calculating the work in progress, the figures, whether you want to use the previous one to be out first, okay, in terms of the figures. And these figures actually it's for you to calculate the cost. All right, but if for the inventory person, for the stockkeeper, they will charge, if they want to use the first in, they will use the figures of the purchase price at the beginning time. All right, or the last in, first out. The stockkeeper will charge that 1,000 kgs that out from the store is based on the latest price. That is different. Okay, that is the inventory that you use. Okay, and you consider it in your account where you do your financial statement, right? Is it you asked about that question about that inventory?
Oke, gimana Hana? Hafiza? Jadi yang biaya rata-rata tertimbang tadi itu untuk persediaan akhir pada akhir periodenya itu hampir sama dengan yang dijelaskan sama Dr. Hana pada yang di awal tadi gitu. Hampir sama perhitungannya. Kemudian pemilihan antara metode first in, first out dan average cost itu yang seperti yang dijelaskan pada penjelasan sebelumnya.
Okay, this actually the FIFO or EVCO method here is for you to use in your production. Okay, it's nothing to do with the purchase price of the inventory with in your record in your financial statement. This is for the purpose for the production actually. All right. Okay. At the end of the day, whatever that you charge, it is different. Let's say you take 1,000 kg with the price of 1 ringgit today, it is going to the stockkeeper is going to have the remaining balance of 9,000. For example, you have 10,000 and you have the remaining balance of 9,000 kg and you record it, your inventory have 9,000. All right, that's it. Okay, but when you prepare the manufacturing cost, it is different. Okay, you are going to take into account the manufacturing cost first. And this is going to be your manufacturing cost. How you want to charge, it depends on which method that you want to use. Okay. Then at the end of the day, you will have the total cost involved in the production, and this will let you decide on how much is your profit that you want, or how much is your selling price that you want to set. And from there, you will times the number of units that you sell to have the sales figure for your financial statement. All right. This is the internal part actually. Okay. Do I get you correctly, or you actually ask something about something else?
Oke, Hafiza. Ada lagi yang mau ditanya? Rahma, gimana? Rahma Eka Putri, ada yang mau ditanyakan?
Tapi gini juga, Wi.
Not yet, ma'am.
Oke. Aziza ada?
Itu juga kalau kayak ada
Enggak. Kalau tidak, mungkin kita bisa lanjut ya.
Ini SK-nya SK.
Ada Rahma Ramadona, ada yang mau ditanya?
Fakultas kan untuk itu juga, supaya teman-teman bisa dibayarkan, teman-teman yang masih
Enggak.
non-stroke
Oke.
kan.
Oke, Dokter.
I will ask to
Oh ya, boleh.
Ma'am Hannah. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. Is my voice is clear?
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
okay. My question is, if there is a defect in an item
Is
in
there?
the opening process, what is
Sorry. Is
defect?
there?
Defect.
Is there
If
impact?
the defect.
Defect item?
Yes, defect.
Okay. If
In the
we
opening
have
process.
defect item, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. In the opening process, what is the ripple or sign or indication effect on equivalent units and total production costs? I would really appreciate it if you would explain it, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, you are asking me about the defect item, right? And how it affect the statement
Yes, ma'am.
Statement of the what we call equivalent unit, statement of
ma'am.
cost, and statement of evaluation.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, in the production, yes, Rama.
No.
Okay, let me answer you first. All right, so if in the process, normally we are going to have loss, right? Semua dalam production akan ada hilang atau rosak, right? Do you understand me? Okay, so now something happened in the production, all right? The flour dropped, okay, or spoiled. Okay, maybe you are in the production of making a biscuit, for example. Okay, you have an end in the what we call sugars, for example. So the product cannot be used. So it's going to be a loss to us. All right. And we estimate the losses. Maybe from the 1,000 unit that we put into the machine, okay, let's say we want to make a cake or we want to make a biscuit, we put 1,000 kg. We are not going to use 1 kg. All right. In the mass production, we, for example, 1,000, 2,000 kg. And we assume that in this production, maybe we are going to face 5% losses. When we expect that we are going to lose 5%, that considered normal loss. Okay. And you ask me how we take this into account, right? Is it right? Yeah. We have state here here. All right. You can see here, where do I consider my loss in the production when I involve losses? Okay, I will consider it here. Okay. Still sharing the screen with you, right? Okay, so just now, if no losses, no loss, all right, sorry, not no loss, but no value, then the cost will be charged to the perfect unit, the complete unit, all right? However, if you have the value, okay, it is loss, okay, it is loss, but that loss can be sold as scrap. You have to remember the concept. If no scrap value, then you have to bear, or you need to use the total cost to be charged to the finished good. Okay, let's say you have 50,000, the total cost, and you have 1,000 unit. Okay, let's say 50 unit is not good and cannot be sold. So you have the 950, all right, unit left. And how much the price is? That is based on 50,000 divided into 950. Okay, so the cost is getting higher or bigger if you compare to 50,000, you divide into 1,000. So the cost per unit will be highest. So what I can see here, the cost of defect item is charged to the end product. Okay, we consider it as a finished good. We calculate it and we charge to the customer actually. All right, whatever losses in the production, actually you charge to the customer. All right, it is already included in the total cost. Okay, you have any doubt anymore about that?
Okay, no, ma'am. Okay, thank you for explaining, ma'am. I got the point.
Okay. Actually, this is, let me see whether I can share with you. We have few minutes to go. Let me see. Structure. I have given you a set of questions where you can try about the process costing. So what you can see here on your screen actually is one question, okay, where I give you all the information. All right, so we make delicious ice cream. All right, we make ice cream, bypass 3 sequential processes. The first one is milkshake. mixed with egg. The second process flavor are added to the mixture. And finally, the final is the ice cream are packed into 1 liter container. All right. And I have all this information that related to the process 1. And you can look here. I have the work in progress. Okay. And the material added. Okay. And the scrap units, the completed transfer out, the closing work in progress, okay, where you can see 100% for complete material, 25% for conversion cost, which this is actually for overhead and labor. All right. The cost of opening work in progress, okay, you can see the material and the conversion. The cost of material added here, the normal loss is 10%, can be sold with scrap value. And this question is quite helpful where mentioned about the weighted average cost is the method that adopted for the valuation of work in progress. So maybe you can try this question and I will give you the solution through Dr. Helena. All right. And on the part B, this is my product or joint product. We will cover it on Thursday. All right. So you can only try first part of the question. So try to solve the problem and maybe you can have better understanding for that. Okay, this is my solution actually. So I think you try first and we look into it maybe at the end of our session later. All right, try to do how you come out with the using weighted average, prepare the statement, prepare statement of cost and statement of evaluation. All right. And when you do this, what we call statement of evaluation, all right, so you have to bear in mind the cost, whether you are using the Avco or FIFO. Okay, since the question mentioned you use Avco, so focus on the example from the slide. Start from the F4, right? And I guess another question is about FIFO, weighted average as well. Question 2 is also weighted average. Maybe you can find another one question for LIFO to be discussed with me in the next section. Most, this is also weighted average. Let me see. Maybe the last one is FIFO method. All right. You may try the question. Only question number 4 is FIFO method. All right. So please look at the question and try the questions to test your understanding. All right. Okay. So I guess that is that's all for today. We have completed the equivalent unit. Okay, even we have a skip few slide that is actually the same. All right, it's just a different in a few parts only. All right, the rest is the same, no problem. All right, so you have to refer back and try to learn. And if you are not clear, then you can ask your teaching lecturer, or you even can ask me. Okay, you can post your WhatsApp through your teaching lecturer. All right. So I think that's all for today. Inshallah, we will meet you again next week on Thursday and Friday. Inshallah. Back to you,
Yes.
Madam.
Oke, Dokter Han. Hana. Thank you for today, for the explanation today, and we can get a lot of knowledge. We will meet again on 1st December.
No, next week, right?
Next week, yeah.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, we have to complete it before December. So
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
so
For
next Thursday,
administration, right? Yeah. I'm
uh,
sorry. Next
uh,
week, yeah.
Thursday
Okay.
afternoon.
Next week we will meet again.
Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. Okay. Hopefully it will be a creative for us. Thank you, Dr. Hana,
All right.
for all of our students. I'm sorry if I have a mistake for last.
No worry. I'm sorry to the student because maybe you cannot catch up. Okay, it is the same thing goes to my student too. They keep coming and ask me a lot of question when they learn about process costing. This happened to me too. This is the
Yeah.
most difficult part in this paper. Okay, Malaysian student as well. All right. So I got no worry that I know that most of the student cannot understand it at the first
Yeah.
lecture. All right. And they keep
Process.
coming to my room, how to settle this and how to settle that. Okay. I think it goes to your student as well. So, okay. But the main thing here, you cannot come and meet me. Rahma cannot come to see me, that she will go to you.
Yeah.
Okay, she will go to you and get a better explanation. All right, so maybe the mode of teaching is slightly different. All right, even we deliver the same thing, but the way how we teach it might be different. All right, and we cater for most of the what we call question for our students. Okay, so we can see that this is actually a learning process for both of the universities, I guess. All right, so we can look at each other, and I think it is almost the same. Okay, my student also always keep quiet in the class. All right, they only ask me when they come face to face. They don't even switch on the camera sometimes. Okay, they don't want me to see them. All right, so it is good for you switch on the camera. All right, and this is only the chance for us to meet. So maybe if you come to Malaysia, I've been in Lombok last few years to teach the university Mataram. I forgot already.
Mataram.
I've been there.
Yeah, University of Mataram.
For a few days. That is, I think, Islamic University.
No.
No. I've been there for a few days, I think. All right. About 1 week, and then they have come and visited. But we meet the postgraduate student there.
Oh yeah.
It is quite nice to meet you all. So if you want to visit Malacca, UiTM Malacca, please test your lecturers, and I can wait here. All right.
Inshallah.
All right.
Inshallah.
I think that's all for today, and maybe some of you need to go for Friday prayer. It's a bit early, right? Because your subuh prayer is at 4 o'clock. Is it 4 o'clock? Malaysian time 5 o'clock. Your morning prayer, subuh. Fajar.
Subuh prayers at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
At Jakarta times.
Jakarta time. Malaysian time now is about 5:45. Malaysian time 5:45. You normally start your class at 7, is it?
Yes, at 7 o'clock
Jakarta
in
time, 7
Jakarta
o'clock?
times.
Means 8 Malaysian time.
It's same with 8 o'clock in Malaysian time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Han.
Okay, thank you.
For today.
Yeah, okay. Then we'll see you all next week.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yes,
Sorry
see you
for anything, for any mistake that I've done throughout the lesson. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
students, see you all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh. Next week.
Ma'am Hana.
Oi. Wait. Apa?